Hey everyone, my name is Maggie. In my previous videos, I've talked about artists from the Baroque and Romantic periods of art, and I really encourage you to check those videos out as well. Today, let's rewind back a little bit to talk about the artist Raphael from the Renaissance era. Raffaello Sanzio, known as Raphael, was an Italian painter and architect of the High Renaissance. Although dying at the early age of 37, he was one of the greatest artists of the Renaissance era and have left a great influence on arts years after until today. The Renaissance era marks the transition from the Middle Ages to modern-day civilization. Ranging from the 14th century to the 16th century, it ends the so-called Dark Ages, which is often marked as a period of wars, famines, and pandemics that caused the death of many. The Renaissance-era movements originated in Italy, where there were great social changes in the arts, cultures, politics, and the economy, under the combined influence of a rising humanism, secularism, and individualism. These changes were impacted by the revival of classical Greek and Roman philosophy, literature, and arts, as well as the advances in international trading and rational economy under the ruling of the Medici family. The rise in humanism provoked questions for the Roman Catholic Church. In the 16th century, Martin Luther led the Reformation movement that challenges the papal authority in the Catholic Church, believing that its practices did not align with the teachings from the Bible, as I've talked about before in my video on Rubens. The Reformation movement resulted in fundamental changes in the tenets of Christian belief and divided a new branch under Christianity called Protestantism. These changes were manifested in the paintings, sculptures, architectures, literature, music, and science at that time. Some of the greatest artists, scientists, authors, and philosophers in human history thrived in the Renaissance era, including the legendary William Shakespeare, Nicolaus Copernicus, and Leonardo da Vinci. Da Vinci, along with Michelangelo and Raphael, forms the Trinity of great masters of the High Renaissance. Arts and sciences were closely linked during the Renaissance era. New discoveries in fields such as anatomy, astrology, and mathematics had influenced the paintings and architectures at that time. Renaissance arts were characterized by realism and naturalism. Artists strive to depict the beauty of people, objects, and nature in a true-to-life way. They've developed techniques of using realistic linear perspectives and using shadows and lights to add three-dimensional depth to their works, treating paintings as windows into space, while also infusing emotions in their pieces. Raphael created works that perfectly expresses the classical spirit, being harmonious, graceful, beautiful, and serene. He was a master in realistically depicting emotions, which brought his paintings to life. Raphael's parents passed when he was young. He was then adopted by his uncle, Bartolomeo. He had shown great talent at a very young age, when he would help out at the workshop of his father, who was also a painter. He had drawn the self-portrait shown at the age of 15 or 16, and was an apprentice for Pietro Perugino before he was well trained enough and made a master. His first major commission was the Bronze altarpiece in the Church of St. Nicholas of Tolentino, and in the following years he was commissioned to paint for many churches around Italy and Vatican. One of Raphael's greatest works, the School of Athens, was painted in Pope Julius II's library in the Vatican, along with 3 other pieces. In this large fresco, Raphael brings together some of the greatest artists, mathematicians, philosophers, and scientists from different times, depicting them calmly sharing ideas and learning from each other. This symbolizes the marriage of art, philosophy, and science that was a hallmark of the Italian Renaissance, and represents the humanistic influence on arts and the Aristotelian and Platonic schools of thoughts. Raphael himself is also depicted in this fresco, along with Da Vinci and Michelangelo. Being the youngest of the Trinity, Raphael took great inspirations from the two in his early years. From 1504 through 1508, Raphael has created at least 17 pieces of Madonnas, also known as depictions of Mother Mary and her child in a non-historical context. The Madonna and the colors she bears are a symbol of virtue, virginity, innocence, and purity of spirit. Raphael had brought complexity and depth to these Christian figures, depicting Mary as the bridge between divine and humanity. Raphael's Madonnas all have in common this idealized beauty, showing a tender sentiment that comes into harmony with their grace, modesty, and wistful expressions through their downcast eyes. He didn't create these for the sake of commercial interests, but more for his personal explorations. Throughout Raphael's works, he took inspirations from many, such as his early teachers, Da Vinci, Michelangelo, as well as ancient Greek and Roman arts. He even took part in designing the St. Peter's Cathedral. In the end, he passed on his 37th birthday from illness. He was never married, but is said to have had many affairs. He was extremely influential during his lifetime, and was buried with a grand funeral. His works will always be admired for the clarity of form and human grandeur, and Raphael remains a leading figure of Italian High Renaissance. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this short introduction to Raphael, and I really encourage you to check him out more and perhaps go see for yourself some of his works in major museums and churches. Like and subscribe for future videos every week, and check out previous videos on other historical artists and musicians. I'll leave a comment of who you want us to do next.